Welcome to Not Ashamed. I'm your host, Ashley Nordman, and today I'm going to be talking about a really important topic that I feel like I'm discussing a lot with many of you ladies, because this is something that is really important to all of us. You know, I hate when I feel like I'm in this middle ground and I don't really know where I'm going, and there's a lot of us that feel that way. And so I want to talk about what to do when you feel lost and how to find your way. So maybe you just graduated high school and you're not really sure what you want to do, or college and you have a degree, but you're not entirely certain what path you want to go down. Or maybe you're a mom and you are trying to get back into the workforce, but you're not exactly sure where you want to go. I know that feeling all too well of just trying to figure out like what path you want to take and having all these endless options and just not knowing what the right one is. And it can be really, really overwhelming. So I've recreated myself many times and I've started over a lot. And I feel like I have a lot of life experience where I can hopefully give you guys some insight as to what has helped me when I've had those moments where I really felt lost and didn't know how to rein it in and figure out my way. And, you know, I think if we just dive in here, that hopefully you'll realize that you're not alone, because I've been in that same exact place. So what brings this topic up is I went to the doctor recently and I was sitting in like the waiting room, got called back by the medical assistant, and she was this sweet younger girl, and we got talking, and she had just graduated college. She had just got this job at my doctor's office, and she was trying to decide like what she was going to do. She was a medical assistant. She had a 4-year degree. I can't remember what it was in, something in like the medical world, I believe, but she just wasn't sure. She wasn't sure if that was what she wanted to do. And she's been working at a vet clinic also on the weekends. So she works as a medical assistant during the week and then as a vet clinic tech or something on the weekends. And she was telling me how she just kind of feels a little lost right now. And I could just kind of see it in her eyes. You know, we were just making small talk and I was asking her how she likes working at my doctor's office because I hadn't seen her before and she looked like a new face. We got to talking and she basically was just saying to me how she never realized that once you get out of college, there's no like blueprint that like walks you through kind of what to do after that. Like, yeah, okay, I have this degree, but like, how do I know where I'm going to apply it? How do I know what job is right for me? And she just felt very overwhelmed with trying to figure it all out right now. And I don't know her age, but she was probably about 10 years younger than me. And I just remember looking in her eyes and being like, girl, I have literally been there. Like, I know that exact feeling where you have a degree, you have a job, but you know it's not like the forever job. And you're kind of in that like weird middle ground where you don't know if you're going to go back to school, if you're going to just keep pursuing what you're doing, if what you're doing is even right. There's just so many questions, you know? So we were talking about all of these different things, and I just kind of sat with her for a minute and I was like, you know, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. I think that you feel like right when you get out of school and you have this degree and you're working, that you have to just fall into this perfect career and be happy. And that's not how it ever works. Me having that conversation with her really took me back to not only a time where I felt that same way, but it also reminded me of many conversations I've had with people lately that I feel like are in the same boat. And I think it's because there's so many people out there that are just not willing to speak up and talk about the frustrations that they have because either their ego gets in the way, or they're ashamed, or they don't want to talk to people about the fact that they're struggling because maybe they do have a great job, but they just don't love it and they don't want to look ungrateful or whatever it might be. And so I'm just here to say there's a lot of people that are either working in things that they don't love doing or just don't know what they want to do yet, and that is okay, because I've been there. This girl that I just talked to the other day has been there. Like, it's a normal human feeling to want more and to be constantly evolving. And when you hear a little bit more about my story, you're going to be like, I can't believe you've done that many things to finally figure out where you are now, because I'm 31 and I have started over easily 5 or 6 times. And it took every single one of those failures to help pivot me and figure out what I really want in life. And I can finally wholeheartedly say that I'm there now, but it took a long, long, long time to get there. So one thing that I've really struggled with over the years is having the proper support, especially when I got out of school, when I got out of college and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I love my family so much. They are the most amazing people, but they didn't really know how to always support me and how to like be there for me, because the way I was raised was to just go out and figure things out on my own, fall on my face by myself and pick myself back up. And I'm so grateful for that because it made me so independent. But it also comes with downfalls, because when you're having moments where you just don't know what you want to do, it can kind of feel lonely, you know, when you have people in your life that aren't really going to step in and kind of tell you what they think is best for you. But again, looking back, I think it was the greatest gift because I had to learn for myself. But in that moment, I didn't feel like I had a lot of support. And then my friends, I feel like at the time, like just didn't really understand what I was going through either, because it seemed like all the people around me knew what they wanted and were doing the things they wanted, where I was over here kind of alone trying to figure this all out. So if you feel like you don't have the support that you need, I resonate with that and I feel for you, because I have truly been there also, and I know how lonely it can feel. But the good news is, when it comes to finding your way, none of those outside people actually matter. Like, yes, it can help having family that motivates you and having friends that are there for you. Like, support is always needed. But at the end of the day, it comes down to us and what we want, and internally looking at who we are and what needs we have and how we're going to chase after them. And so it can feel really scary to like make our own decisions for ourselves and then to fail, because that all falls on us. But I can truthfully say what is more scary would be looking back and having that regret of never going for it and never making that jump. Like, that sounds so much scarier to me than just going for it and falling on my face. And I would argue that anybody out there would respect you so much more for chasing after your dreams, for going after your passions, for pursuing that thing that you think is going to be it, and just going all in, even if you fail. People are going to admire you so much for that than for you just saying you're going to do it maybe, and then not doing it. It's always worth the risk. It might not feel like it's going to be, and it might feel really scary to worry about failing and falling on your face, but I can assure you, nobody is going to judge you, because I have failed many times and I never feel like that stopped me by hearing other people like picking on me for it or whatever it might be. It would actually be harder for me having to deal with the pain of knowing I just didn't even try. So let's get back to the girl at the doctor's office. She was probably around the age that I was at, like 21 when I got out of college, where I felt like I had to have it all together. I felt like I had to have a plan. I had to fall into this perfect career. It was just so much pressure. And when I was talking to her, I could just see like the pain and like the sadness of like how she just wasn't proud of herself. And what I honestly tried to show her that day was that she's doing all the right things. I mean, she's trying different things out. She's working at this doctor's office. She's also working at a vet clinic. She's taking care of herself. She had on the same shoes as me, and we were talking about how we love running. She goes to the gym every day. She journals. I mean, she's doing all of these things that are going to make her better. And so the advice that I gave her, which is the advice I would give my younger self, and also the advice I would give any of you who might be feeling like you don't know where you're going, is to do what this girl is doing right now, and to do what I did too, which is to just throw yourself out there and try different things, because you're literally never going to know how to apply your degree or your expertise or your passions unless you actually go for it. There's just quite literally no way. And college or whatever, education you have is not going to ever prepare you for that real life experience. So you need to go out and try different things. You need to go out and learn what you hate, because that'll show you what you don't hate and what you do love. You need to find different jobs that maybe motivate you or don't motivate you. All of these different things are good feedback for helping you eventually find the right path. So just like I told this girl, the real world is the best teacher. You can learn all the things in school, but when it comes to applying it, you're never going to actually know if it's for you. Like for me, for example, I went to college, changed my degree 3 times, thought I was going to be a pre-med student, couldn't even get through Chem 101. Then I thought I was going to be an artist, started drawing naked people, couldn't get behind that. Then I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch to marketing. And so I got a degree in business and marketing and absolutely loved the degree. Took this job right out of school that was like this marketing position that I thought was going to be amazing. And guess what? 3 months in, I freaking hated it. I absolutely hated it. I was crying in my cubicle every day and I was miserable. And I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But thank God I went for it and tried it, because I would never have known. And maybe I would have taken an easier, less risky position out of school. I mean, I moved my life all the way to Atlanta, Georgia from Illinois for this job, knew nobody. And I knew it was a huge risk, and I failed completely. Like, I hated the job. I was good at it, but it just wasn't fulfilling. And I quit out of nowhere. And I remember feeling like I was going to let people down, but at the same time, I couldn't let myself down and keep doing something that I just was 100% confident wasn't for me. But I didn't know it until I got into it that it wasn't going to work. From there, I ended up falling into like the fitness world. I started a fitness business. I eventually moved out to Fargo, North Dakota, and tried to start a meal prep company, which that didn't work. I lasted like 5 months there and then called my dad crying, begging him to help me move all my stuff back to Illinois. And he was like, you're going to have to figure it out. I was like, really? Me in Fargo? I'm going to have to do this all by myself? Yep. So found some company that came and grabbed all my stuff out of my apartment, hauled it all the way to Illinois for me, and I moved back home. I mean, I completely failed, lost tons of money, wasted time, but you know what? I learned really quickly cooking meals in a kitchen and selling them was not what I wanted to do. Then I went back to school for a nutrition degree, loved that, but couldn't really figure out how to apply it to everyday life. And so now I just kind of use it for myself, I guess. I started a perfume line that lasted a couple years, but it was extremely hard to get that up and going because the margins weren't there. It was very hard to make money. People weren't willing to spend what we needed to charge. So then I learned really quickly, like, okay, you can have a great product, but if it's too expensive, no one's going to buy it. So there's all these things that I did, spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of starting over. I mean, I was moving all over the place. I've moved probably 5 or 6 times before I finally landed here in St. Louis, which I love being in St. Louis. But there were all of these failures where I could have let the fear of judgment and all of these other factors stop me or make me like question if I even know what I want in life. But instead, I saw it as an opportunity to grow. I saw it as an opportunity to learn. And I took all of those losses as a positive because every single loss led me one step closer to here where I am right now, which is doing exactly what I want to be doing. So outside of real world application, I think it's so important to just not rush things. Be patient. Realize that there's no sense in putting a timeline on yourself, pressuring yourself, whatever it is that you're doing to make yourself feel like you have to have it all figured out right now. You don't. I know I'm in my 30s and I'm really grateful to finally feel like I kind of figured it out. But in a couple years, I might literally start all over again. Who knows? I feel like you're spending your whole life just growing and evolving constantly. And if you're putting these pressures on yourself, it's not going to do any good. Another thing you can do is reflect on your needs. Like, what is it that you need in your life to feel fulfilled? What is it that you need to feel your best? What is it that you need in order to perform your best? Like, what are the things that make you tick? What are the things that you could like get lost in for hours? Those things are worth leaning into. And I also think with this comes spending time alone, because when you spend time alone with yourself, that's when you really get to figure out who you are. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of us, especially women and definitely me at times, struggle with being alone, but those moments in my life where I have been alone for extended periods of time are really where I learned the most about myself and where I was able to focus because I was not distracted and I wasn't worried about pleasing other people. I was just focusing on me, finding my happy, finding my career path, pouring my time and energy into bettering myself. All of those things involve being alone. And obviously, if you're listening to this and you're married or something, like you can be alone in different ways, you know, but for me, I feel like just being able to focus on yourself without having these outside influences impacting you is really, really important because it's very easy to be persuaded by other people when you're in a vulnerable place where you don't know what you want. So it's super important to just sit with yourself, be alone, journal your thoughts, really reflect and think deeply on like what it is you need in life to get to where you want to be going, because it really does lie within yourself. It's just very hard to check in sometimes and to listen to that voice. Another thing that I think is so important that many of us overlook is the fact that, okay, maybe you aren't where you want to be in life right now with your career. Maybe you aren't where you want to be just in some area. But think of the things that you can control. Think of what you can control. The things that are in your control are what you eat every day, the voices inside your head, the things you listen to, your movement. All of those things are so important, and having that positive momentum is really, really powerful when it comes to finding who you are. I know for me, when I am my best self, I have a lot of momentum going. So I'm working on myself. I'm going to the gym. I'm sticking to a nutrition plan. I'm following through with my commitments. I'm giving back to the community. I'm going to church. Like, if I'm not doing those things, I'm not my best me. And when I'm not my best me, I'm not in the best state of mind. I can't make good decisions. I end up being more reactive instead of proactive, and it's not good. So the most important thing you can do is keep that positive momentum, stick to your commitments, have a plan, take control of the things in your life that you can control, because yeah, maybe your career isn't where you want it, or maybe you don't know where you're going or where you want to move to, or you have something laying so heavy on you and you just don't know what choice you're going to make yet. That's okay. But if everything else in your life you can feel good about, that's going to really balance that. You know, it's going to take the weight off, and it's going to make you feel really good about yourself, knowing that you can find that inner belief because you're sticking to your commitments, you're following through, you're hitting your goals. Like, all of those things are going to build that confidence within yourself. And I would argue that that confidence is what helps you make better decisions, because if you're feeling very confident in who you are, you're going to feel a lot better about the decisions that you make, because you will trust that those decisions are the right ones. And the trust piece is huge, because I think a lot of times when we don't make decisions and we're in this like weird middle ground, it's because we don't trust ourselves. So I'm actually in this Facebook group with a ton of women. I can't remember what the name of the group is, but it's basically this like positive encouragement group for entrepreneurs. And there was a lady that posted a week or so ago about, what advice would you give to your younger self if you're in your 50s or older? So anybody in the group who's 50s and above could write comments to women that are in their 20s trying to find their way. And I took a couple of these quotes and I'm going to read them to you because they're so good. There were thousands of comments on this, I hope you know. And I only kept a handful because I just kept seeing the same recurring theme over and over. Like, everyone was pretty much saying these same couple things, but in different ways. And so I really want to talk about these because they're so good, and I hope these can resonate with some of you. The first one: stop trying so hard to impress everyone else and focus on impressing yourself. I thought that was huge, because I think when people are torn about making decisions, they're not even worrying about what is best for them half the time. They're more worried about, is everyone else going to be okay with that? Like, does that look good to other people? Are they going to be proud of me? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It comes down to, are you proud of yourself? Is this what you want? Worry about impressing yourself, because at night you lay down with yourself and you have to be proud of who you are. And it does not matter what other people think. The next one, which is literally basically what I just said, is stop worrying about what other people think about you. And again, so simple, so plain Jane, but I saw this over and over and over in these threads. These women in their 50s were just trying to hit that home, because so many of us women worry so much, and it's unnecessary. Just focus on you and don't worry about these other people. I really like this one because it's very like powerful to me. Don't lose you. Find her, work on her, work with her, and please don't you ever lose her for anybody. I love that. I think that's huge. And this also relates to other people being involved, but I think it's so easy to get lost in other people. Being lost in the whole, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's not worth it. Don't lose yourself. You have to still stick to the things that you love and the things that you're passionate about and the things that make you you. And that's so important, because if you lose yourself, you will end up going down a really bad path. Okay, this one I really liked because there was a couple people that had said things along these lines, but to keep it really simple, this is the gist of it. Focus on your education, because nobody can ever take that from you, and enjoy being in the moment and living. And The education side of things, I think, is huge. And that's something I've always said to like my friends and family. Nobody can take knowledge away from you. Like education is something always worth investing in. Even if you look back later and you're like, I didn't use that degree. Yes, you did, because that's all information that you learned that nobody can ever take away from you. And then obviously enjoying living in the moment and living your life is huge, but it's like something that I don't think we say enough. Like, stop stressing so much. Like, life is meant to be enjoyed. So just enjoy the ride, enjoy the fact that you're not maybe where you want to be right now, but you're on this beautiful journey to getting there. I have 2 more. The next one is whatever is meant for you will find your way to you. Whatever it is, a job, a friendship, a promotion, or marriage, trust me, God will make sure it crosses your path at the right time. And that's huge because, again, you have to have faith and you have to know that timing is important. So maybe you want that perfect career right now, but the timing just isn't right. Maybe you want that promotion or you need some new friends or whatever it might be. If they haven't come into your life yet, or if these things haven't happened yet, it's because the timing isn't right. So just trust that God is planning something bigger than you even know, and the timing is so important. All right, the last one, and this one was easily the number 1 piece of advice given over and over in this thread. Don't be in such a hurry to commit to anything. Take your time. And I think this is huge because we live in a world now where people are in such a rush all the time. We really struggle with being patient. We really struggle with sitting in things, but it's so imperative that you do. It's important that you do not rush into anything in life, relationships, career paths, anything, because you have to really see the progression of things over time and like catch those things that might make you change your path. Because if you dive into something too fast, you're not going to see any of those things. And then you might be in too deep and realize it wasn't actually what you were supposed to be doing. So take your time. Don't give yourself this crazy timeline to have it all figured out the second you get done with college, the second you get done having babies, the second you're out of high school, whatever this period in life is that you're feeling all this pressure. Stop pressuring yourself. You have your entire life to figure this out. And I'm not saying drag your feet, but I'm also saying don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to not know right now where you're going. So I want to hear your stories. I want to know, have you ever been lost? Are you feeling lost right now? Or have you found your way? I would love to hear where you're at in life. So definitely reach out and let me know. Drop a line, say hi. I want to hear if this resonates with you or kind of like where you're at in your journey. For me personally, I have failed and started over so many times. It's unbelievable. And I can wholeheartedly say this is the first time in my life where I feel so content and I feel like I have finally fallen into the right path. And it's a really good feeling. But failing time and time and time and time again is literally the only way that I got here to this place. And I'm grateful that I wasn't afraid to see myself fall on my face because it's always been a learning experience for me. Search inward because all of this lies within you and I believe in you and I'm here for you anytime. I feel like it's something that we all struggle with at certain times in our lives. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone. Until next time, be loud, be proud, and be shameless. Visit us at anskinbeauty.com to shop all of our medical grade skincare.